Hello and welcome to the collapse experiment. This is going to be a different video. Am I the narcissist here? Had a comment the other day on my I'm 45 and I avoid people. Here's why. There's a good chance you might have seen that video because I think it might be the one that has the most views so far. Somebody commented that my video by itself shows that I am a narcissist because I think I am better than other people. Better. That's a relative term. And they also had the example from the video of me leaving the podcast because I found myself doing a good portion of the work. I didn't want to be on the podcast to begin with. It was only going to be temporary. And a year later, I was still on the damn thing. And I didn't have this in the video, but we took a break. After the first year, we took like the holiday season off. We had a backlog of episodes. And when we came back, all of us sat down and we started discussing about where we wanted the podcast to go. Now, of course, the guy who was running the podcast, he was like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And after he did his little speech, which was very general, right? It was a whole lot of I want to, but not really anything. There wasn't any goals that were set. It was just a broad idea. And so after he said all this, I was like, so what is your plan? Like, do you have any guests lined up? And who would you like to have on the show? And what are you looking at doing for this or for that? There was already some tension beforehand because at one point, this guy allegedly had one of his bank accounts emptied from some type of fraud. And he came in and he was like, hey, if you guys want to keep doing this, you got to start like helping pay for this and pay for that. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, I told you day one how to do this for free. You didn't have to buy that program. You didn't have to set up for that app, that monthly payment, to do this exact same things that the other free programs would do that you could switch over to later on. But no, like he, from day one, started forking out money. That was his decision. And then later on, and keep in mind, I don't know if any of this is true or not, right? Like, I don't know his finances. I don't know if he really had his stuff stolen. It could just be there's no ad revenue. He was getting tired of paying for it. And then he was also complaining about how you guys are going to have to start helping with the editing. And it's like, well, for one, you record it on your laptop. Two, we don't have access to any of the accounts that you set up. And the moment we don't do something up to his expectations, we never would have heard the end of it. So it's like, there is no option for somebody else taking over stuff like that because the guy was a control freak. So I don't know where this whole notion of like, oh, you're a narcissist, you think you're better than everybody else. Sometimes you are better than other people. And we see this all the time. Are Democrats narcissists because they think that they're so much morally superior? Bullshit. Than Republicans? And are Republicans superior or narcissists because they think that they're fiscally more responsible? Bullshit. than the Democrats. Is everyone that's part of a political party a narcissist? Are all these women who refuse to date anybody under a bachelor's degree, under 6 figures, that has a certain car, are they narcissists? Yeah, they are. Am I a narcissist because after 45 years on this planet, I realized there's just really no freaking point in spending and wasting time, a commodity, with people you quite frankly just don't share interests with or do not enjoy being around. And it takes a certain type of person who finds value in just spending time with people for the sake of spending time with people. And I am not one of them. I have better things I could be doing with my time. Does that make me a narcissist? No, it makes me an introvert. I never liked school dances. Both times I went to, half of my proms. I went to my high school prom, which was bullshit. A bunch of rich prep kids who have never been to the ghetto yelling to the DJ, yo, play the hip hop, play the hip hop. And I'm just like, why? And there were kids that I went to high school with that, was I smarter than them? Yes. Was I valedictorian? No. Being valedictorian doesn't mean necessarily that you're smart either. It means that you basically did what the school told you for 4 years. Does it mean that they have critical thinking skills? Nope. Does it mean that they're smart enough to not go to college to get a degree and end up with a 6-figure debt that they likely won't pay off? Nope. The only class that I ever flunked, got an F in throughout grade school, middle school, and high school was economics. Believe it or not. And this was back when my economics teacher, Mr. V, was teaching everybody Alan Greenspan is God's message to the world. He is the smartest person to ever exist. The guy that led to the 2009 economic collapse, the one who said that we should make it a priority for every American to own a home, whether or not they can afford it. Alan Greenspan. You never hear that name. But this guy, he was in charge when the dot-com bubble happened because shit was not regulated properly. Even my own family lost money in the dot-com bubble bullshit. And then after that, it was, that's where Americans will save all kinds of money, as if they buy their own home. No. Even with low interest rates, you are going to pay double, if not more, for the house if you only pay the 30-year mortgage over that time. If you don't pay over, if you don't pay towards the principal. And when you sell the house, are you ever going to get that money back? No, this was a Ponzi scheme for the banks to profit off of interest rates. Because the more mortgages they have, the more money that's coming in, and they also own that property. You don't make your payments, guess what? The bank takes your shit. and then they sell it to somebody else. So it was a huge scheme. And I'm the only one sitting there like, well, I feel like the stock market is just a casino, because they were teaching us how to trade on the stock market. We're all supposed to pick our stocks and look through the newspaper and track them. We're supposed to pretend that we had $1,000. And of course, Mr. V is talking about how I had one student that turned that $1,000 into $1 million. Well, he would have been investigated by the FCC. $1,000 into $1 million in one semester. Yeah. Oh, he did it with penny stocks. Penny stocks. .com bubble much? This was 1997, 1998. Penny stocks were a big thing. Penny stocks usually meant that the company itself was on the verge of no longer existing. You could buy a shit ton of penny stocks. Look at the Wolf of Wall Street. And then later, those penny stocks? What stocks are you talking about? Now, I failed economics. This was the same class where they're telling all of us that the financial benefit of getting a college degree was $1 million or more in your lifetime, which I remember sitting there thinking like, that's it? 1 million over the span of your lifetime. $1 million. That's all. And most people, even if they have a college degree, even if they are declared smart by society, if they are making $1 million more during their lifetime, they're spending it. And just like everybody else, they're not going to have shit when they retire. And of course, I'm not going to say I was the only one. I was probably one of the few people sitting in that class going, that doesn't seem like much. That seems like a horrible investment. Because I was already working, unlike a lot of the kids in my class. I had already had several jobs. I had done landscaping on the side. I had been working at Meijer, working on my parents' rental properties. I was already working. And when they're saying like, well, yeah, you spend X amount of dollars, even if you get a student loan, this was in high school, even if you get a student loan, you'll more than make that up when you get your job, your profession. They're selling that shit in the late 90s. I remember thinking like, I make $5.15 an hour. How the fuck am I paying off $60,000 in debt? Oh, well, you're not making that when you graduate. How many people do you know graduated from college or went to college and didn't graduate, still has student loan debts, and they're working at the same damn job that they had when they started going to college? Hi, I'm a barista. I've been here for 10 years. I have a degree in Russian philosophy and Jewish literature with a minor in lesbian dance theory. I suggest a scissoring. Hi. So yeah, it's amazing. I'm the narcissist in this situation. I only did several podcasts beforehand, and keep in mind, the majority, and I mean like 99% of podcasts out there, do not survive. They don't succeed. You can go through the catalog on Google Podcasts or whatever the hell you want to look up. And even the ones that have been on there for years have no ad revenue, have no income, but they keep doing their show probably because they like it, or they're using it as an outlet for some other side hustle they have going on. So So when I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, he wants to do this podcast. I don't really see it taking off. And he does have followers. I will admit that. He does have followers. Does he have ad revenue now? I don't know. I haven't listened to the show since I left. But the fact that you're dishing out money monthly to do a show that you're not profiting from when you could be doing it for free minus the time that you're putting in, that's the kicker. If you don't like editing a podcast, and I was a proponent of like, hey, whatever we record, just leave it in there. And there were times where we would get into these spats, right? I looked at it as a debate. He looked at it as this is getting cut because it's not good. And I'm like, I don't understand what the problem is with opposing viewpoints to your opinion. There's 4 hosts here. And for some reason, if somebody disagrees with one of them, him, that shit's getting cut. But I'm the narcissist. I'm the one who thinks I'm better than everybody else. I should just start doing a weekly segment of, am I the a-hole here? I don't know if that would go over well with YouTube. But I can tell my channel is still growing, it's still expanding because now the trolls are starting to come out. Apparently I'm also a whiny bitch, as some people put it, for my I'm 45 and I avoid people. Here's why. You avoid people? God, stop whining. Thanks for more clarification as to why I avoid people. Not surprised. Proving my point. Wow, you're somebody that I want to have a beer with. Yeah, you're just being a whiny bitch. You're talking shit to somebody on the internet. Doesn't exactly look good. We're the majority. Yeah, well, the majority hasn't always been correct on a lot of things. Remember 2020? The more shit that comes out about 2020, the more trials I want to see. I want to see Pfizer out of business. I don't want to see them fined. I don't want to see them being prosecuted. I want their fucking doors shut for good. Well, that's going to kill the economy of the place that you grew up in. Good. When you have an economy that's based on immoral actions, assholes that are profiting off of the death of others, backdoor deals with the government where our tax dollars mean their profits, I don't want to see that shit ever again. You don't know how the economy works. Oh, I do. But you got an F. It's funny. I want to know how many people in my high school economics class got an A, went to college, took out student loan debt, and still have student loan debt. I want to know about that. I want to know how many people lost a shit ton of money in the stock market because they did well in their high school economics class. How many people have extreme amounts of credit card debt because they weren't taught about interest rates and APRs in their high school economics class. You got to remember, I was already living in the real world while these other kids are in high school, living under mommy and daddy's roof, paying for everything. A lot of these kids were gifted cars for their 16th, 17th birthday. I didn't get my license until I was 18, and I didn't get my first car. When was that? It was well after my 18th birthday. I had it before I was 19. And that car was a beater. It was a little 4-door 1989 Pontiac Le Mans. And no, I don't use that for any of those questions if you're trying to hack into my shit. That was one of those things that I learned from the Las Vegas Tesla incident. Oh, that's not the first car that he had. No, they were smart enough to use other vehicles in case they were taken captive. They didn't want their personal information out of there. That's where people have to be smart. The question isn't what was your first car. The question is, what car would you wish you would have had when you were 16? Everybody can answer that question. Lamborghini Diablo, Porsche 911. That's an unfortunate number for that car. Mustang GT with the 308. So yeah, trolls are starting to come out of the woodwork. And I think it's kind of funny. You build up an immunity over time. I've been on here for 12 years. And as the channel fluctuated up and down, where I talked about certain things people didn't like me discussing, I remember times where I would talk about a topic. One was QAnon. Had the video removed by YouTube because it was harassment. Which I thought was funny because, for one, it had to have been somebody who follows Q. And two, that means that YouTube was actually protecting QAnon followers, which they oppose QAnon. It's hysterically funny. I wasn't even upset. I was like, damn, they didn't even watch the video. They're just like, yeah, this guy's crying. I can just see the tears in his email. I'm taking this down. It's so horribly mentally abusive. What happened to QAnon anyways? QAnon disappeared. Went bye-bye. The fact that people didn't see that was a damn psyop. Morons. There he goes, harassing them again. The mentally fragile QAnon people. So, am I the narcissist? That would be the new one. That will replace the whole am I the a-hole? Which a lot of those stories are pretty great too. Keep on typing.